Politics. The People's Democratic Party, PDP in Ondo State, has flagged off its governorship campaign ahead of the October 10th governorship election. The party's governorship candidate, Tayo Jegede, while receiving the party's flag, said his mission is to ensure that poverty and hunger are no longer problems in Ondo State. Abiola Ario reports.
The PDP rally brought together party stalwarts from across the country who came to affirm their support for the candidacy of Tayo Jegede in the Ondo State governorship elections. Presenting the party's flag to the candidates, National Chairman of the party, Uche Secondus, and the Governor of Oyo State, who doubles as the Chairman, Ondo PDP governorship campaign, Seyi Makinde, appealed to the people of the state to make the right choice by electing the PDP candidates, saying the state had lacked substantial progress in the last 4 years and requires a visionary leader like Tayo.
We want freedom for the entire Southwest.
We expect you, the great people of Ondo State, to consolidate on that victory for PDP.
For the youth, there will be industry, there will be development.
Other party leaders said that PDP should be given the opportunity to govern Ondo State again, urging the electorate to come out en masse and cast their votes for the PDP come October 10. In Akure, Abiola Ario, NTA News.
And in Mina, the former deputy leader of the 7th House of Representatives, Baba Shehu Agai, was attacked and beaten by a mob a few meters away from the People's Democratic Party State Secretariat in Mina, Niger State, venue of the State Congress, where the former party chairman Tanko Beji and former deputy chief whip at the 7th House of Representatives, Mukhtar Mohammed Ahmed, were to contest chairmanship position. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports that the election could not hold after several hours of waiting beyond the scheduled time.
Late to be People's Democratic Party's PDP delegates attacked Baba Shehu Age on arrival a few meters to the state PDP secretariat gate for allegedly hijacking delegates' tags.
Baba Shehu was beaten because of delegate card. All the Age people delegate card was seized by him. He should release all the proper material for the delegates.
As you can see the crowd here, everybody is crying, is shouting. They should allow the Congress move smoothly. Let them allow the will of the people to prevail. All we are saying is credible election.
The former deputy leader at the 7th lower chamber of the National Assembly, Baba Shehu Age, who was in a state of pain, declined comment. Meanwhile, few minutes after the incident, the electoral committee members were taken away from the venue, a decision that prompted a reaction from some delegates and talks, resulting in the destruction of some candidates' posters and billboard. In Mina, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in the ancient city, the election bid of Pastor Saige Zeyabu of the APC has been endorsed by a group known as Friends for Simple Agenda. The group is made up of eligible voters who are in different trades and occupations. Agochukuka Ona reports.
Like this, who knows everybody? Who knows what politics is all about? Who knows what running a government is all about? We will be safe.
Basically, because of his simple agenda, we are supporting him.
Pastor Izeyamu commended the people for their confidence in its manifesto.
Simple agenda, the solution to our problems. And these are the problems I looked at. And I came up with a simple agenda. Something that I believe will be simple enough for people to remember. So that when I'm in government, you also continue to remind me.
Meanwhile, Oedo local government has taken its turn in the APC ward-to-ward campaign. Members of the APC campaign train were in Amegbe Ward 2, Sakwamba Wards 9 to 12, New Benin Wards 6 to 8.
It is time for you as landlords to serve the red card to the tenant. And as you can see, even before you reminded him, what you're asking for is in his paper.
Pastor Izeyamu visited the Enoje of Urolo, Jackson Igbinogene, in his palace to seek his prayer and support. He also had audience with members of Iyekoba Youth Association. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
And away from politics, conditional cash transfer policy of the federal government still in force as facilitators get more sensitization. For these and more stories, let's join Suleiman in our Kaduna Network Center. Hello, Suleiman.
Two million households in Nigeria are to benefit from 5,000 monthly stipends under the conditional cash transfer program of the federal government before the end of 2020. Majama Adamu reports.
These are additional 173 cash transfer facilitators selected from the benefiting 9 local government areas of Kaduna State. They will facilitate additional 38,071 beneficiaries in the state.
Cash transfer facilitators are the key implementing actors as far as the program is concerned. They engage directly with our beneficiaries at the community level, and by the design of the program, for each activity or each task the CTF has to accomplish at the community level, there is need to build their capacity to ensure that they are well equipped to implement the program at the community level.
Gloria Yamda and Ashuru Yakubu pledged to impart the knowledge they acquired on the targeted beneficiaries for maximum effect.
The cash transfer, how are they going to use it, how they will make use of it in order to help them to come out from the poverty.
What we get here is a knowledge that you can go and help the vulnerable and the poor people in the grassroots level.
Before the end of 2020, the exercise is expected to improve the living standard of 2 million beneficiary households that equal to an average 8,800,000 individuals across the country. In Kaduna, Majama Adamu, NTA News.
National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NAHCON, is set to introduce Hajj savings scheme to lower income earners among intending pilgrims across the country. Chairman of the commission, Zikirullah Kule Hussein, stated this during an inspection visit to the ongoing project situated at the Kano Hajj camp. Hadiza Muhammad Ali reports.
Savings scheme, which is set to come on board at the end of September 2020, will have the support of financial institutions in the country. The idea is to assist the intending pilgrims save the Hajj fee gradually to be able to perform Hajj operations without hitch. Apart from this initiative, the chairman assured intending pilgrims that their welfare will continue to be his top priority at home and in the Holy Land.
It's an accommodation which is ensued. This, we believe, it will become easy to have comfort for prospective pilgrims, as also a way to generate revenue to help us to continuously manage Hajj.
While in Kano, Zikrullah Hussein inspected the multi-million naira hospital and accommodation project to be used by intended pilgrims during Hajj exercise to avoid inconveniences. In Kano, Hadiza Muhammad Ali, NTA News.
To strengthen Sharia legal system in Katsina, 20 acting judges have been sworn in to fill in the vacant positions in the state Sharia court. Abdul Malik Hassan reports that the judges sworn in by the chief judge of Katsina State, Justice Musa Daladi Abubakar, were tasked to discharge their duties diligently and with the fear of Allah.
The swearing-in of the 20 acting judges is coming after the positions were declared vacant following the retirement of their predecessors. The judges selected from the 3 senatorial zones of Katsina State were sworn in after they met the criteria to fill in the vacant positions to serve as acting judges under the Sharia Court of Appeal in the state. Addressing the newly sworn-in judges, the Chief Judge of Katsina State, Justice Musa Daladi Abubakar, charged the judges to discharge their duties diligently and professionally, as well strive to protect the integrity of the court.
Judges should maintain higher standard of conduct and character than any other person, because everybody comes before them to demand his rights.
He said there will be regular courses for the judges to enable them discharge their duties diligently. In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
And with that report, Larry, take it away from here. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Suleiman. The Joint Health Sector Union is to commence a nationwide industrial action from 12 midnight Sunday. 13 September, as the expanded NEC meeting of the union unanimously agreed that since nothing concrete was achieved at the conciliatory meeting held with government representatives on Thursday last week, a notice by Johasu stated that the 15-day ultimatum has elapsed and their members are going to withdraw their services. It will be recorded that both the government and Johasu have described last week Thursday's meeting as very fruitful. Johasu was to present the resolutions to its members to deliberate on, which was intended to forestall the strike, but that resolution was not agreed on by NEC. However, the Minister of Labour, in response to the President's directive, has scheduled another meeting with all unions to listen to their grievances. The government at all levels have been urged to patronize and make use of indigenous engineers and firms in design and construction projects to encourage and build local capacity. President, Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Koren Ali Rabiu, stated this during a visit to Government House, Uyo. Charity James completes the story.
Structural development is a panacea to the development of any state and country, hence the need for effective technological and engineering supervision and monitoring. This informed the establishment of Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Koren, by Decree 55 of 1970. The Council, as part of its responsibility, visits Akwa Ibom.
Engineering is a key driver in this regard. For any government to succeed in its quest for development, there must be sufficient engineering capacity. I therefore appeal to Your Excellency to patronize, and if you have been doing so, to continue to patronize our indigenous engineering personnel and firms.
The Akwa Ibom State Governor, represented by the State Deputy Governor Moses Ekpo, while receiving members of Koren, thanked them for citing their South-South Zonal headquarters in Akwa Ibom State. He also pledged the state government's readiness to partner the council to achieve its mandates.
In the area that we know will affect the development of the state, whether it is social, education, engineering-based knowledge available, and we utilize them very, very effectively.
Leaders of Council for the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, Koren, are to expect their zonal office and also meet with engineers in the states. In Uyo, Charity James, NTA News.
And top on the stories from our Port Harcourt zone is the inspection of Senate's Committee on Ecology, Climate Change and Ogoni Cleanup. Jenny is standing by for this and more update from that zone.
Thank you, Irene. The Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives on Ecology and Climate Change has called on the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, to expedite action on the implementation of the Ogoniland Cleanup Project and show transparency in the management of the fund. The Joint Committee is in Rivers State on the invitation of Environmental Rights Action to ascertain the progress of work by HYPREP. Robinson Darataide reports.
Concerns on the perceived slow pace of the Ogoni Cleanup Project prompted the invitation of the National Assembly members by the Environmental Rights Action, Friends of the Earth Nigeria. The committee defied the downpour to visit about 6 lots domiciled in one of the sites in Eleme, where massive excavation of about 6 feet and treatment of the topsoil was ongoing. The committee frowned at infractions at HYPREP financial documents arising from conversion of dollars to naira, urging them to be transparent in the funding. HYPREP was also advised to develop effective monitoring and evaluation mechanism for the project.
Let the contractors be serious and also let them be up to date, because they are given 6 months. Most of them are now and a half years old. I'm just appealing to them, please let them speed action.
The Environmental Rights Action called for a legislative backing to improve the livelihood programs.
Environmental Rights Action is recommending a 20% from the remediation fund to go to direct empowerment to address rural poverty and people who have suffered consistently from this pollution.
Responding, HYPREP said remediation has been completed in 7 lots in the first batch of the project and they are undergoing testing and certification by the National Environmental Standard and Regulations Enforcement Agency in Port Harcourt. Robinson Delateide, NTA News.
The relevance of communication towards addressing security challenges makes it imperative for enhanced strategic synergy between the military and the media to contain criminalities in the country. This explained why the Zonal Director, NTA Port Harcourt Network Center, Bosode Adebayo, led her management team on a visit to the General Officer Commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Olu Irefin in Port Harcourt. Yours sincerely was there. On hand to receive the Zonal Director and her management team was the General Officer Commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Olu Irefin and other senior officers. The Zonal Director, NTA Port Harcourt, Bosode Adebayo, while commending the military for their crucial role in sustaining peace in the country, promised to continue to partner the 6th Division to enable it discharge its responsibility. She noted that NTA as a media platform is poised to highlighting the progress and achievements of the 6th Division, even as she appreciates their contribution in providing aviation lights in the station.
Our functions are intertwined. You provide security, we give information. And I know that for security to be efficient, there is a need for information. And that is why we have worked together as children of the same family, because it is the federal government that is our big father.
Responding, Major General Olu Irefin applauded NTA for its unbiased reportage and pledged to work closely with the organization towards set goal.
The NTA has been a friend as an organization to the military. The most important thing for me is the fact that you are one organization that bring out the other side of the story.
The visit afforded the management of the two agencies to further strengthen the existing synergy between them. The most notorious kidnapper and armed robber terrorizing the Ogoni axis of River State, Honest Dibara, also known as Bobrisky, has been confirmed dead. He died shortly after being paraded by the River State Commissioner of Police, Joseph Mukan, at the State Police Headquarters, Moscow Road in Port Harcourt. Emmanuel Lene reports.
The notorious gang leader and kidnapped kingpin has been on the police watch list and declared wanted by the state government with a bounty of 30 million naira. He was arrested at Kodokoro community in Taliko government area following a sting operation carried out by the police with the assistance of a local vigilante. He was said to have engaged the police in a shootout and was thereafter arrested while his driver sustained severe injuries. Honest Dibara, aka Bobrisky, was alleged to have killed the AFAM Divisional Crime Officer SP Moses Egbede, kidnap of Chief Mbu of Obolo, while he collected a ransom of 7 million naira, killing of a soldier, a personnel of Civil Defense Corps, as well as 2 policemen attached to the Federal Highway Botemtai, among others.
Police in a swift operations team storm his hideout. On sighting the police, they start firing at the police. Unfortunately for them, his driver was gunned down and he was arrested alive.
The arrest of the kidnapped kingpin is a milestone for the command and victory for the state and country at large. In Port Harcourt, Emmanuel Lene, NTA News.
Nationwide will continue with Irene after the break.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
ICPC and NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. Stay away from corruption, stay safe from COVID-19. Report any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Thank you for staying. Yobe state government is now diverting its attention to developing the resilience of returnees and other vulnerable groups across the state through its emergency food support initiative to ameliorate their hardship induced by insecurity, COVID-19 and flood disaster. Under this drive, the State Emergency Management Agency is distributing assorted food items across 178 political wards in 17 council areas of the state. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
The livelihoods of thousands of returnees is one catalyst that the Yobe state government, under its emergency food support initiative, is using to build the resilience of the returnees and liberated communities across the state. Under this goal-oriented drive, more than 600 returnees in Bunyadi have benefited from the gesture, where each beneficiary went home with some food items and other condiments as a way of encouraging them to put the pieces together.
So we are appreciating the federal government of Nigeria and even the Governor Maimala Buni for his concern concerning the people of Bunyadi, for the relief materials that he have given to the people.
Allah sauwaƙe mu sai da za mu je mu ci da ƴaƴan yanzu haka ma muka fito muka basu ba abin da za su ci mun kai za mu tafasa mu ba.
The ongoing food distribution exercise is also targeting 150 vulnerable households in each ward of the state to ameliorate their sufferings in this trying moment that is characterized by the effects of COVID-19 pandemic and flood disaster across the 17 local government areas of the state.
Going Memorial, Bunyadi is one of the communities that is affected by insurgency. Boko Haram stayed in Bunyadi for over 2 years. People have now returned to Bunyadi. So in trying to build the resilience of people, one thing you will do is to ensure that you support them so that they will feel encouraged and stay in the community.
The state government, through SEMA, has in many occasions said that these and many other interventions are part of its reconstruction, resettlement, and rehabilitation drive. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA.
And away from Yobe State, Salute Nigeria initiative has organized a one-day 3-in-1 community awareness campaign against insecurity, COVID-19 and gender-based violence. Eliasu Onotu Yakubu reports that this is aimed at promoting national consciousness, interest, agenda and national rebirth.
Take the fingers off the trigger. Keep hope alive. Together we shall defeat COVID-19 in Nigeria. And women, our treasure. The campaign against rape and gender-based violence, where the message is the Salute Nigeria initiative is taken to the local communities in support of national enlightenment and awareness.
It's not the work of the government alone to develop and prosper Nigeria, that every citizen, every Nigerian citizen has the responsibility of contributing to the development of Nigeria.
The initiative seeks to bring opinion molders together in communities on an appeal for behavioral change for national growth. And who is best to drive such messages and ensure that it gets to the target audience than the traditional institution as the custodian of the people's values?
We must try what we do to make sure that we abide by the rules and regulations of the health sector.
And we need to have focus. We need to give you support to the police. You must understand your environment, understand whom you are dealing with.
Asiwaju Moshood Shitu, a resource person, emphasized that for the nation to combat the pockets of security challenges bedeviling it, the people must support the community policing initiative of the present police leadership.
When there are crises anywhere, the most important way how to get rid of it is the traces of the root cause of anywhere we have insurgency or crisis like this.
Following the launch of the campaign, the initiative will undertake a nationwide drive to hinterlands to combat the issues highlighted. Eliasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
One of the attendant consequences of the coronavirus pandemic is that it created fear of visiting hospitals or healthcare facilities for medical attention, even when necessary. Hakimat Aliyu takes a look at the situation in the Federal Capital Territory and the level of fear among people.
Outbreak of coronavirus in Nigeria. Going to the healthcare facility comes with a phobia for many people, as the hospital to them could be a place of contact with sick people who might be carriers of the virus or other infections, amongst other concerns.
The fear is simply because if you go there, because the reason, one of the things we have discovered, most people who have malaria, they are being treated for COVID-19.
People are scared. I can't even go to Ogoniland, especially in Ogoniland at the moment, because of I know that place is an isolation center, or that's where they are taking care of COVID-19 patients.
And some even believe that when they go to the hospital, they can be tested positive and come back and maybe die before that time out of fear.
With the fears no doubt established, Dr. Zainab Suleiman, a medical doctor at Wuse District Hospital, Abuja, advised the general public not to deprive themselves from seeking medical attention.
The hospital has ensured that all patients are to be masked, both the doctors and both the patients. So even patients that are admitted, they have no fear, they have nothing to worry, because there's a considerable number of distance between every patient to also reduce the risk of transmission. Anybody that is at risk or possible, it might be a possible carrier, they are usually isolated before they are being attended to.
The fear, however, is experiencing a decline with increase in awareness and adequate information amongst people.
We have realized that there are precautions. When you take all the necessary precautions, you wash your hands, you clean yourself, you put the mask.
People were right to have the phobia, but now the hospitals are safe to visit.
Others maintain that taking personal responsibility to stay safe when visiting the hospital or any other place outside your comfort zone remains key to protecting oneself from contracting coronavirus and preventing the spread. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliyu, NTA News.
Many thanks, Akimat, for the reminder. Now, Maiduguri Network Center is next as Borno State government shows more commitment in resettling Kauri returnees in Konduga local government area. Abubakar tells us more, and this and other stories making rounds in that axis. It's over to you, Abubakar.
It's good to see you here, Ray, and thanks for joining us. Following years of displacement as a result of the Boko Haram insurgency, Borno State government has resettled 750 households in Kauri town of Konduga local government. Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur flagged off the return of Kauri community at Dalori IDP's camp on behalf of Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Azulum before their return to the community deserted 6 years ago. Jadwa John Jesney will now tell us more.
At the peak of the insurgency, Kauri town with thousands of inhabitants was destroyed and the people forced to flee to the state capital to take refuge in IDP camps and host community. The town has been fully rebuilt by the Governor Zulum-led administration and social amenities provided for the successful resettlement. Addressing the IDPs at the Dalori camp before the 40 kilometers movement to Kauri town, Borno State Deputy Governor Umar Usman Kadafur appealed to them to live in peace and continue their farming activities. Each of the returnees were allocated a house and financial support of 50,000 naira as startup. Commissioner for Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, Engineer Mustafa Gubio, officials of the ministry and other stakeholders led the first batch of the returnees to the rebuilt town of Kauri. The commissioner urged the returnees to cooperate with security operatives as government will hasten the completion of all remaining infrastructures to enhance their livelihood. State lawmaker representing Konduga, Alibula Mayajua, and Special Advisor on Coordination, Sustainable Development and Humanitarian Response, Mayor Mandara, pledged the government's commitment to resettle all displaced communities across the state. Chairperson State Emergency Management Agency, Hajj Okolo, said relief materials such as foodstuff, blankets, mosquito nets, and clothing would be distributed to the returnees. The village head of Kauri, Malam Lawana Awa, thanked the state governor for the rebuilding of destroyed communities and resettlement of IDPs and urged the people to be law-abiding. In Maiduguri, Jadwa, John Jessini, NTA News.
Junior and senior secondary school students in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, are rounding up exiting WAEC and JSC examinations without any case of the coronavirus pandemic recorded so far. Our correspondent has an update on the successful examination conducted in compliance with COVID-19 protocols. Since the commencement of exit examinations in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, management of both public and private schools have remained fully on ground to ensure that none of the stipulated safety protocols against COVID-19, such as wearing of face mask, observing physical distance, and constant washing of hands, is compromised.
Since we resumed, we have been complying with the COVID-19 pandemic measures.
I'm wearing my face mask and it's a customized one. So this is, we are doing all this so that other colleagues of ours should see and then so that they should follow suit.
We as a school, we've taken it upon ourselves to make sure that we follow this protocol to the latter.
Successfully work on Thursday, we are through with it, and then yesterday Friday we are through with JSC. So both the two papers are over.
For the resumption, we make sure that everything is in order. The washing hand basic, the using of face masks, we make sure that all students, without it, we don't allow them to enter the school premises.
Glory of God, we have complied as stipulated by the government. And we want to thank God as well because we have not recorded any case.
The measures taken against the coronavirus pandemic can best be described as impressive here in Borno State because some schools, just like this one, are done with the exit examination without recording any case of the COVID-19.
Throughout the period of this examination, there has never been a case of one student or one teacher that was found to have contracted the disease. So I can say it's 100% success.
With the collective efforts in winning the ongoing fight against the global pandemic COVID-19, there is likelihood that this achievement may pave way for other learners to resume school in no distant time. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Mohammed Musa, NTA. You're on to Nationwide on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. Ere in Abuja has more stories for us on Nationwide. Ere.
Thank you, Abubakar. Now, prices of food items at our new market in Kano State have slightly declined as a result of new farm produce, which forces down the already escalated prices of essential commodities. Yahanasu Hassan Barrow reports that middlemen have cashed in to make a brisk business, which further compounded the situation.
The strategic nature of the Wano market makes it a commercial hub for grains business not only in Kano State, but the entire country and some sub-Saharan Africa, with a daily turnover of more than 300 million naira. Commercial activities are at their peak at a season like this, as market forces push prices of grains slightly lower. Though there is public outcry of high cost of food items in the country, the situation is gradually changing at the market with the influx of new farm produce. Before now, a bag of millet is being sold at 20,000 naira, but now sells at 14,000 naira. Likewise, guinea corn is now 17,000 naira as against 19,000 naira. New maize has forced the price of the old one to 17,000 naira as against 21,000 naira. The reduction in prices of food items at the Wano market are further compounded by middlemen who took over the marketing of the commodities.
And because of speculations, that is why. It's not because of the cost of production. I don't believe it is because of cost of production, because the government had done a lot. Fertilizer, government had provided, CBN is providing a lot of money to these people, soft loan. In fact, because of COVID, they even reduced the rate of interest from 9% to 5%.
Regarding the price of yam, can say it's okay. With 200 naira yams, one can feed his family.
The Wano market and other grains market like Kwanadawaki rice market may continue to strive and help in moderating prices of essential commodities despite the activities of middlemen, which constitute a hurdle between buyers and sellers, making prices of food items beyond the reach of the common man. In Kano, Yahanasu Hassan Barrow, NTA News.
And still on the prices of food items, various intervention programs of the federal government in the agricultural sector, as well as the ban on importation of some food items, encourage the consumption of locally produced commodities and earns farmers more income, thereby increasing the gross domestic product, GDP, of the country. However, with the availability of food items in states of the Federation, such as Ebonyi, Chika, Okori, sought to note the reason for the hike in their prices, even at harvest season.
World Bank data 2016 puts the country's agricultural landmass at 708,000 square kilometers, out of which Ebonyi State has 5,538. Little wonder, farming is the mainstay of the people who cultivate a wide range of fruits and cash crops. For instance, the state produces 1.3 million metric tons of rice per annum. Despite bumper harvest this year, access to locally produced food items by consumers appears to be challenging due to artificial scarcity.
Farmers have suffered a lot, especially in this year. This produce we made this period, we have to hold it so that when the time we shall sell it, we shall make gain.
Our farmers in Nigeria are very, very greedy. They are not actually making use of that window which Mr. President has created for them. You can't imagine a bag of local rice costing about 25,000 naira.
No, government is doing great, going into dry farming now. I know Ebonyi State has queued into that farming system.
At a time, Nigerians are trying to overcome the effects of COVID-19. Respondents argue that hoarding of food items is least expected.
It tells more on the income of the consumers. In the process of overstorage, most of these goods will get expired.
In order to crash the prices of foodstuffs, stakeholders suggest the option of regulating activities of middlemen. In Abakaliki, Chika Okore, NTA News.
And now a bit of sports. West Bromwich Albion lost 0-3 to Leicester City in week 1 of EPL. For more, let's join Amanzi Marcus.
Gradually establishing herself as tennis leading light both on and off the court, following a 1-6, 6-3, 6-3 victory over Victoria Azarenka to earn her second US Open title and third Grand Slam trophy. The 22-year-old Japanese, who has displaced Serena Williams as top earner, said it was a tough match against the 31-year-old Belarusian. And yes, really inspiring for me because I used to watch you play here when I was younger, so just to have the opportunity to play you is really great and I learn a lot. Azarenka, who lost the 2012 and 2013 US Open finals to Serena Williams, said, "It's just painful. It's painful to lose." And still on tennis, the Achilles injury which disturbed Serena Williams during her semi-final loss to Victoria Azarenka has forced her to pull out of the Italian Open, which begins on Monday in Rome. She is, however, committed to playing at the French Open in search of a record-equaling 24th major title to match Margaret Court's long-standing record. In Game 5 of the NBA playoffs, LeBron James had 29 points, 11 rebounds and 7 assists as Los Angeles Lakers eliminated Houston Rockets 119-96 at the NBA bubble near Orlando. Lakers won the series 4-1, and the last time they reached this stage was a decade ago when late Lakers legend Kobe Bryant led them to the 2010 title. With Sports Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
We must continue to speak up against rape and rapists. And that's nationwide this Sunday. Many thanks for being a part of it. And here's wishing you a great week. I'm Yenri John.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Hello and welcome. It's time for another interesting package of
everything music.
Angelina, you dey cool in my temperature. If you call, I go come deliver.
This is talking movies.
In times of old, the world was full of wonder.
No! Welcoming you to your weekend for today.
Arise, oh compatriots, it's time to use our voice.
Beyond 6 packs.
Bills.
Pay the bills, keep paying the telephone
bills. The thieves will call it Afa. People all the way from Songhai Empire will call it Afa too. We call it Ifa. All the way to Sudan, they call it Ifa. All the way to southern Egypt, we have a lot of Yorubas there. They call it Ifa. It's a common thing for everybody in continent of Africa. But they will tell you it's bad. It's a bad thing. Don't go there. They are demonic. That's what they're doing. So how are we going to learn our history? So it's important for us to learn our history. And how we have to tell our story by ourselves. Nobody can tell our story for us. So that's the reason why we are losing such values. But we are trying our best to tell our story the way it is actually.
Now, still on the throne here, Kabisi, you, like I said earlier, came onto the throne as a young man, and you've shouldered huge responsibilities trying to drive the Yoruba nation, and of course, by extension, Africa as a whole. In all that you've been able to do, what has been your most challenging footsteps which you have taken?
Well, what you have just said now, telling our story. When I try to push it, people will bring biblical and Quranic means, and they will say, Kabisi is talking off point. Very challenging to change the narratives from our people. That look, it's very important for you to know who we are. It's very important. Don't let religion becloud you. These are facts. You can check it out. It's a very challenging thing. People just why haven't we grown in Africa? Because we are doing what we're supposed to do. And we live in the midst of milk and honey. If you wash tomatoes in your house, throw it to your backyard. In 3 days it will grow.
Yes.
Where can it happen anywhere in the world? Where? It's not possible anywhere. They must apply fertilizer, apply this, apply that. So my point is, that has been the major challenge, because I'm here to let us know who we are as the black people, the Yoruba people. I'm not after supremacy, no. And I want to inculcate and imbibe that thing into our youth. It's very difficult to change their orientation, to reorientate Nigerian youth. Difficult. But the throne is dedicated to them. So I see the good, I see the bad, and I see the ugly. So I'm not going to relent. Like I told you, I've always been a fighter from day one. And I like to take up very huge challenges. So God will help me.
Your Imperial Majesty, I honestly do not envy you at all, wearing this crown and administering your people. But let's take a pause on this discussion, as we want to go out there to meet a few of your friends and some of your subjects, because indeed, we need to find out who His Imperial Majesty is as a friend and, of course, as a leader. Let's get to meet these individuals.
The then Prince Adeyeye Enitan-Ogunwusi is also, in my opinion and in my view, the same person. Before the ascension of the throne of his forebearers, he's always demonstrated the exact same way. Qualities the qualities in him. What we see now, what we see playing out now, is he has always been the same. We just didn't know. He's a very pragmatic human being, a teacher, a learner at the same time, and to him, mankind is pretty much his passion. He likes to see his fellow human being happy.
It's a special made from God in time of humanity. He loved people as his own. I can even said he loved people than himself. Because wherever you get to him, say, Kabiyesi, this is my problem. I want this, I want that. The next thing you will hear from Baba Oni is Otisese. I've never seen him regret anybody say, sorry, maybe you can come tomorrow. No. Happen as a new person on the throne. We chiefs, we go to him, Baba, this is how this is supposed to be. Say, don't worry. Immediately, he will comply with us. He will comply. Even though we are all human beings, nobody above mistake. But it's somebody that God have sent.
I've never seen somebody or a leader in his capacity as flexible as the Ooni of Ife. I've never seen, and this is not an exaggeration. He's very flexible, and we do refer to his flexibility as even over flexibility. But in spite of that, he has always told us that he came into this world very humbly. He has achieved all he has achieved very humbly. He got to the reign of Oduduwa very humbly, and he's going to live the rest of his life very, very humbly. Nothing can change him from being flexible, from being simple, and from being humble with the people that God has made him to come and lead as a father.
Quite interesting to have such an intelligent leader at the helm of affairs of the entire Yoruba race. It's still Executive Discuss, and we still have with us His Imperial Majesty, the Ooni of Ife, Ooni Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II. Kabiyesi Ooni of Ife is a man who is seen, in fact, in some quarters, it's believed that you're too visible as a king.
Oh, there.
I wonder why.
Well, that's who I am. I told you ever since I was a kid.
Because you're always around. You attend functions more than perhaps what we're used to seeing of
Well, I will tell you something again. It has always been my lifestyle. If I attend one function, everybody will say I've attended 10 functions. I've not left this palace in 3 months. And yet you read about me every day.
Every day.
I haven't stepped out of this palace. Yes, in 3 months. I haven't. I moved around during this pandemic for the herbal cure. To the glory of God, we've achieved tremendous progress. I moved around for fumigation, for environmental sanitation. To the glory of God, huge success. We're able to distribute throughout every corner of Nigeria. We're able to cover it. But I did that for my own bit 3 months ago. I've not moved, but you read about me every day.
Every day.
But it's okay, I understand. It comes with the throne, and it comes with my spirit head. It has always been like that ever since I'm a young kid. So if it's very positive and impactful to the youth of this country, why not? So be it. So you want me to keep and go inside? Even if I go inside.
No, I didn't say so.
Maybe you want me to do.
No, I didn't say
I just
that.
told you I've been confined to my throne for the last 3 months. You don't believe it?
No, I didn't say I didn't believe it.
No, because I know that people, they just want to read my story.
Now we see in my time here, waiting to have this chat with you, I see that people have been coming in and going out, and you've been attending to people. How are you able to administer your people? How are you able to create a lot of harmony, peace in the town, and of course amongst the people generally?
Well, I will say that's another grace of God. You know, I'm a very approachable king. The throne is very approachable to people. And when you're approachable like that, the good ones will come, the bad ones will come. So I just made up my mind that I'm a dustbin. So it's in my psyche. So they will throw all sorts of gifts inside dustbin. You forget to throw money inside dustbin. It's happened to a lot of people. You think you're throwing trash, but it's money. It's gift. You throw trash, it's gift. Dustbin must collect gifts. That's the nature of dustbin. So for me, it has really worked for me. And that's the reason why, in fact, we are curtailing it.
Okay.
If we don't curtail it, at some point, I tried it the first 2 years. I used to receive, I'm not joking, between 2,000 to 3,000 people a day.
Wow.
Yes, ask, they will tell you.
Wow.
Oh yes. So we had to just curtail it. Too many problems. Too many problems in the society. So leadership is about stewardship. When you think you are a dustbin, you will achieve a lot in life. So it has really helped me. It's been very helpful to me.
What drives you as an individual?
Oh.
Outside of being Ojaja II, what drives you as an individual and then being Kabiyesi?
When everybody is successful, when I see people that are successful, I'm always very excited. I love success. I love fulfilling dreams. Nothing else in this world. I don't care about money. I cannot become anything again in life. I cannot. You are here now. You one day aspire to be the general manager of NTA, or you want to start your own TV station, or you want to do this. What do I want to become? There is nothing again. I've gotten to the peak of anything I want to become in life. So my joy is when I see people from nothing to something. That's my joy.
You're involved in philanthropy, and you've also been pushing for the emancipation of women. Any particular reason for this?
Well, women are wonderful, carefully and wonderfully crafted by God. They're very timed. They do things in a very sensitive way. I study things a lot. You rarely see women that will betray you. Really. If you give them everything you can give them, they are moved by what they hear. But women are moved by what we see. Whenever there will be anything spiritual, it comes from women. So if you know how to handle them very well, they can make you. But if you don't know how to handle them, they can destroy you. So you need to nurture them. If you want to nurture a good nation, when you go to church, you see more of them. When you go to mosque, you see more of them. So you have to understand that if you want to grow well and go far in life, you support women. So I support them. And no regret for doing that.
You mentioned just a few minutes ago about seeing women in churches and mosques. Now, the Oni as the father of all. I know you were born a Christian, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
But the Oni also attends services in the mosque.
Yes.
How come about that?
That's one of the mistakes we make.
Okay.
I was born a Christian. What's the meaning of Christianity? Followers of Christ. You cannot distinguish between holiness and Christianity. Holiness is synonymous to all religion, not only Christianity.
Yes.
And that is how you can see the face of Almighty. Without holiness, no man can see God. It's all Christianity. Some people are holy, but they are not Christians. Born a Christian, raised by a Muslim mother, a Muslim name, by the way, Ibrahim. Oni Ibrahim Adeyeye.
I got that.
You got that?
Yeah.
Then, why will I condemn Muslims? Why will I condemn Christians? Why will I condemn traditional believers? Because we, the Yorubas, we don't have a religion. We only have spirituality. The Yoruba spirituality has many ways to get to God. But Christianity, you get to God through Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Islam, you get to God through Anabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But in Yoruba spirituality, many, that's why they call us idol worshippers. No, we're not idol worshippers. Never. There is no idol greater than the greatest idol in heaven, which is Almighty, the architect of the entire universe, the creator, the leader of the entire universe, the creator, and the one that conspire the entire universe to come together. When universe conspire together in your favor, then you become a superstar. The ground, the land you trample upon, the wind, the sun, the air, fire, All of them conspire. The people will say, you're a superstar. No, there is a conspiracy somewhere. Conspiracy of the entire universe in your favor.
In your favor.
So the day we know that holiness is key and spirituality is stronger than religion, then the world will be a better place for all of us to live. Religion is the politicized it.
Wow.
So that's why you see me in mosque. I know how to pray very well. I know how to do it very well. You see me in church. I know how to worship God. In fact, I can sing very well. And the traditional believers, I believe in our ancestry background. I believe in our ancestors heavily. I cannot do without our ancestors. I have to libate. I have to do libation. I have to call on them. Very important for me. I cannot do anything without them. I'm surrounded with my ancestors, you can see. They are my ancestors. I've made them in a very beautified manner, and I sit in their midst. I give them the honor. To the glory of God, God will honor all of us.
Amen. You seem to be a very fashionable man, but you're always dressed in white. What informs your dress sense?
Well, white has a very strong connotation to purity. White is the beginning of everything. That's the number one primary color. The peak of primary color is black.
Yes.
But white is the blend.
Father, in a Catholic church, especially...
And before you say something, let me confirm to you that in the year 2015, I think, we hosted Religion for Peace International here in Abuja.
That's a good one. It means religion must actually be for peace.
Yeah, sure.
That is what it should be. Today we'll be discussing the role education from religious perspective. I know the two of you are super educationists. So how will you define education? What does it mean to have education?
Well, my definition of education is from the Latin educare, to give and take, to impart knowledge, to help the young ones to be conscious of who they are so that they can be relevant and useful to the society. And that is why in the Bible there's what they call the footstep of the master. And the whole book they call wisdom literature is, they are said of like the Proverbs, the Wisdom, Sirach. They are all geared to helping the youth to grow in wisdom. And I could say that the root of education is from the Bible, because Proverbs chapter 1 verse 7 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction." The Proverb 22:6 says, "Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it." In other words, education is not just to impart knowledge, but it is also formation, because there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. But when you impart knowledge, it can lead to wisdom, both divine wisdom and the wisdom to know where you are going, where you are coming from, and your existence.
Imam, how will you define education?
Well, education is an intellectual activity that is driving from the heart of the driver to the mind of somebody who is going to receive that wisdom. In fact, taking an idea from a particular person to another person, that is education. In Islam, the education started by the first revelation in the Holy Quran. First revelation. In fact, before Quran talked to people on daily prayers. In fact, even before the testimony, Quran started with education by saying, Iqra Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaq. Read in the name of your Lord who creates. So this word, read, is the first revelation to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In another
sorry, does read means education?
Yeah. Not to read, if you are not educated, how can you read?
Oh, okay.
You cannot read if you don't know how to read. So meaning, you have to teach them first how to read and write. Quran is a scripture that came from God. Even though angels reveal it to the prophet, those who are around the prophet, that is companion, are now jotting it for him. They are now drafting it for him. If they don't know how to write, then how can they jot it? So they were asked to know how to read and write first before anything else. So knowledge started from that verse number 1 of the Holy Quran. So Allah in His infinite mercy made mention in another chapter where He says, وَيَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَةً. Allah raise up the position of those people who are the believers amongst you, and the utul ilm, and those whom were given knowledge and wisdom. When you are given knowledge and wisdom, then God will raise up your position among the people of the society.
You want to add something? Because the way...
Yeah, is quite right in the Islamic context. What I want to say here too is, when you say education, that is helping the child to know. Education can be positive when you, depending on what you are teaching. Depending on what you are teaching. The stuff you are teaching, is it helping the child to know God? Is it God-centered? Or is it just helping the child to know how to make money when it is big? Or are you just indoctrinating the child? You could be indoctrinating the child. You think you are educating the child. And then again, a good education actually starts from the family.
Yep.
Education starts from the family.
Okay.
And the children learn by example what the father is doing, what the mother is doing. And again, you see that when you bring up, then the other level of education is school. By the time you now go to school, the child is growing up and is learning. And remember that the environment too, the external perception that backs on the child, they have a lot to do with that formation. So I would say that, you cannot just begin to read and write. That is not the essence of education. That is just literacy. You can be literate, yet you are still stupid. Yes, you can be literate, you can read and write, but you are still stupid.
Exactly.
In other words, you are not trained in the act of wisdom. And when you are not trained in the act of wisdom, it means that you don't know about God, and because you don't know about God, you cannot even know God.
Okay, does it mean education is only meant about knowing God?
No. Who is God? God is the totality of our being, isn't it?
Oh, okay. That is what I expected.
So if you don't know God, you don't even know your neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because your neighbor, if you know God, sincerely know God, you can't kill your neighbor in the name of God.
Exactly. That's what
that is why in one of the prophetic hadith, God says, Ta'rifuni qabla an ta'buduni. You should know me first before even worshiping me. If you don't know God, definitely you will not able to respect what He is saying.
Then it means you don't know God. You don't even know how to worship Him.
You don't even know. You don't even think of worshiping Him.
You will not know what you want.
Yes.
You will not know.
In fact, if you don't know God, that means you don't even know yourself.
Yeah.
Because you are here as living creature on earth, representing who? God.
I remember our former president,
Yes.
President Obasanjo, said, you cannot say you love God and you destroy God's work.
Yes. You cannot
You can't say it's because you love God. That's why you're not destroying God's work.
So, you see, when we say impacting knowledge, this, you know, at time, as my father says, you know, Prof.
Yes, his father, his reverend father. So
yes.
I see.
Yes. When he mentioned that you can know, read, you can know how to read and write, but at the same time you can be stupid, yes. And at the same time, you can see somebody who cannot read, know, write, but he is knowledgeable.
He's highly educated.
Yes,
That is natural
full of wisdom.
Yes.
It happens.
That's what we have in Africa.
It happens in our land here. A knowledgeable person hire somebody on this canoe to cross one river.
Okay.
So the knowledgeable person think that he's knowledgeable, lecturing in the university, whatever. He now in that canoe, he asked the driver, "Do you know how to read and write?" The person say, "No, sir, I don't know." Say, "Oh, sorry for you. Sorry for you. You don't know anything." Then the driver answered him in another way.
How?
When they entered the middle of the river, he now jumped into the river, leaving this knowledgeable person in the canoe alone. Sir, do you want to kill me? He says, "Sir, do you mean that you don't know how to drive yourself in this canoe and you don't know how to swim?" He said, "Yes, I don't know how to swim." And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry for you." You see how? So that is wisdom, that is knowledge. So knowledge is the key to drive somebody to acquire wisdom.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That is why in the Greek they call philosophy, love of wisdom. Philo and Sophia. That is the meaning of philosophy. Love of wisdom.
Okay.
That is where education started.
Prof is a specialist in Latin, though. So
you know that the big mistake we make generally,
okay,
is when we reduce education to foreign categories, like foreign categories.
That is reading. That is
you
reading
think that
and
if
writing.
you cannot speak English, you are not educated. You see, when you travel out of Nigeria, for example, let's just say you just cross Lagos to Cotonou, you will discover that you will be completely analphabet in French.
Yes.
You will not be able to read French, and yet you are a professor of English in Nigeria. So you could see that even before the missionaries, or rather the Western education came, our people, my grandparents, were educated in the African context.
Okay. We
No, I just want to round up something. Because for us now, you see that even in Nigeria, there is this tension between Western education and, English education and Arabic education.
We will get there. We will get there. Because you actually define education in a very beautiful way. It's about impacting knowledge, impacting things that will change the life of the era, of the taker of that information. I think that's the way you've briefly defined it. But now, we have been saying something about education now. Do we actually need to be educated? Why do we need to be educated? Imam.
Definitely we need to be educated. The essence of sending prophets with books, just for us to be educated and to be guided to know our Creator, to know how to worship Him, to know how to live our lives, to know how to acquire the positive cultures that will make impact in our lives. So definitely we need to be educated.
Prof.
Then when you say you need to be educated, The question is, what is the content of education? Now, I will not say we need to be educated.
So what will you say?
I will say we need to be formed. Formation.
Okay.
That is to make you to be conscious of your environment, to be conscious of even the weather and the climate under which you live, to be conscious of your neighbor, to be conscious of your culture. You know, I just watched a clip. A Yoruba man sat down to talk about how education has fallen. He was not talking about education in the English category. He was talking about education in Yoruba culture.
Okay.
He started by saying, in 1920, the child just come. This is what happened. Dobale, he will just prostrate.
Dobale, yes.
And then he will pray for the child. So it started growing until the point the child started doing this. Then in 2020, I say, hi guy. And he said, you are mad. So the old man just said, you are mad. In other words, you are not educated, you are not learned, you have an empty brain. In fact, you are completely empty of character. You get it now? So what I would say is that, you see, even when you talk about, okay, you just saw what they showed in Anambra. A boy, not primary one, this boy constructed a motorbike. No primary one. He constructed a motorbike. It's just like your story. And people are promoting him now. Or you can imagine I'm a mechanic. No school. It's not where he doesn't know how they put this engine together in Europe and America. But you say that the plug is making this boy will dismantle your engine and couple back. So what I'm trying to say actually is education. We need to be formed in our contextual categories. For example, now if you are a true trained Yoruba boy, you will never insult your elder. If you are a true trained Etakobini, for example, you can't just take, for example, now like the Edo culture.
Okay.
The king is, is
the ultimate.
You can't just come and start, for example, now you go and talk anyhow about the Oba, for example.
So you
then,
move it.
In Hausa culture, sometimes I keep asking, I don't know, can we still talk of Hausa culture, or not just Hausa, for example? Can we still talk about, for example, like the little tribes in the north? Can we still, because sometimes I ask myself when I see your Muslim brothers and sisters to say that Islam is our culture. Yes, Islam is a religious culture, but that your religion does not emphasize where you are coming from. But I know that is wrong. You will not say that your religion has effaced your culture as a Yoruba man. So the point I'm trying to make actually is that we should train our children to understand the values, our local values, that it is not good to lie. And I tell you that if you put Christianity aside, put Islam aside, you said, now, let us train our children in virtue. Tell them what our culture forbids and what our culture accepts. You will discover that we will produce better children. Because in our culture, they believe that God, if you offend God, he will affect you. So a story of a pastor, when they stole in the church, and he said, he brought the Bible and he wanted to swear. He said, I'm going to curse you with the Bible. No, but one day he just said, Kai, as I come here, so, and he brought iron. He said, this is Ogu. This one is Oloku. Please, I'm the one who took the money. Do you know that some of our people, they still fear our traditional shrine more than your Bible and your Quran?
Well,
And it because of the way these people have been built up. What I'm trying to say is that train a child in the right path,
okay,
and he will understand. And he will be a better human being.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's one small experience I had with my father. I was close to my father when I was less than 12. Everything my father would tell me in Yoruba, human beings don't steal. Human beings don't steal.
Good.
The day they said they arrested
not
a
Christian
thief,
don't steal and Muslim don't steal.
They say human
being, common factor. Yeah.
Say the day they arrested somebody, a thief, I was waiting to see a spirit. Personal experience, I wasn't to see a spirit. When I got there, I saw a human being. Say, are you not a human being? How can you go and steal? Up to today, if I hear anybody steals, I believe that person is not a human being. Because my father has told me human beings don't steal. We go on a short break.